Welcome to the Knightline Podcast, your source for UCF football and former UCF player information. All right, Night Nation, if that music does not get you excited, I don't know what will. This is Andrew Fegley here at the 1148 Studios again, with my partner to the left of me,
Troy Andrzak. And let me tell you, during the whole intro, I will not jump up and down, do little hand signals, UCF Knights. It just gets you going.
It does. It gets you going, so that's why we put it there. Hopefully, it'll get everybody excited. All right, so this week, this is number 4, by the way. And this week we're going to go through receivers. We're going to go over, who we've got, some comments from George O'Leary on them. We're going to take some questions. We're going to talk about the top 25. We're going to do a little preview on the Missouri game. We're going to talk a lot about the Knights preseason that just started this week. And we're going to talk about some NFL news and some CFL news.
I'm going to put that all together in a half an hour.
As quickly as possible.
All right, then we better get started.
All right.
That sounds good to me. How about we start off instead of with a question this time? We're going to start off with the preseason, the Amway coaches poll, the top 25. That list, obviously, who they think starts off the season as, a top 25 program. And UCF did not land on the list. We landed in at number 28. A little disappointing, but not that big of a deal in my opinion. However, we are the biggest G5 school on this not-so list. We came highest. Every other school was Power 5, which was the Pac-12, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, and the Big 12. The G5 consists of the AAC, which where UCF plays, Mountain West, which sits right there in UCF in quality of programs. Then a step down, and we have Conference USA, and then way below that, we have the MAC and the Sun Belt. We're in number 28. Every other school above us is a Power 5 conference. Seems to be a little biased, but that's just the way the college football landscape's coming out today.
It's extremely biased, unfortunately, but I guess that's the way that it is. So we have to do something to maybe get into one of those Power 5s, as far as I'm concerned.
We're trying. We're doing everything right. However, one thing that is being done right is by Northern Illinois. They had a schedule palooza. They're in the MAC. It's a terrible conference. They haven't really played anybody. Anyone of note, I think they played Wisconsin twice and lost. They played FSU, lost. But they're really trying to get themselves ranked by having a strong strength of schedule. And lately they've been San Diego State, BYU, a couple of teams that I'm regrettably forgetting at the moment. They're home-and-home games. One season they start, and it's coming out to like 2021. They've done a great job with that. That's how you get noticed. UCF's doing a great job of it this year. Playing Penn State in Ireland and BYU in Missouri. And then down the road, we're kind of slacking. We need to take the same route.
It's our conference schedule, our conference schedule is what's lacking, unfortunately.
Well, I'm talking about our out-of-conference schedule, how we're not setting up these same programs, these same home and away series that even Northern Illinois is.
I think they're working on something like that. We'll have to look for more news later with our scheduling for next year. I know that we do play South Carolina next year, and I cannot remember who else.
We're finishing up Maryland.
Maryland, I believe. One thing to note in here as well is that we don't play any teams listed in this top 25, which I think that we were talking about anyway. But that, makes our schedule not good. I mean, not a good schedule by any means.
Our schedule's solid this year. It could be better. Missouri might sneak into the top 25. I like the fact that the 4 and 8 Florida Gators are ranked above us. This is a George O'Leary program. You're going to prove it on the field, and not in someone's heads in the coaches' polls.
And we'll see after week 1, of course, how many people are still in this
exactly.
thing. I mean, it's basically irrelevant, but it just,
And if we start off 2-0 against, Penn State and Missouri, then they got this wrong. If we started 0-2, then we didn't belong in this. It doesn't matter. The best case scenario, this is bulletin board fodder for our young men at UCF. They'll be able to use this as motivation and keep on trucking.
Absolutely. Motivation has always pushed this team when they're underdogs and every other thing.
And senior leadership, which we have plenty of in this senior class.
Alrighty, I think we're going to go to a question next. That, I think, does it for the top 25 That's all we have to say about that.
You're really going with the Forrest
I know,
Gump
yeah,
again.
yeah.
You know what? That's fine. You want to be a
Well, last time it was
special needs
funny.
broadcaster?
I thought it was funny last time.
It was funny.
I got nice compliments from that. Okay. So we have a question from Steve here. With the recent success of the bowl win over Baylor and a top 10 finish, do you expect greater student body turnout for the games? Absolutely, I expect more people to come to the games. I expect more fans in general to come to the games, and I expect more students to come. Yes, it would help to have a little bit better of a group of teams that we're playing.
We do have a rather iffy home schedule this year.
It's not the greatest. We have BYU at home.
But we had almost 12,000 students last season. We've had, it's not like you want students to take over the whole state, and where are the old bastards like you and me going to sit if that takes place? We have good student turnout. We're a transient city in Orlando. School's the same way. It's not a rich tradition school. We're starting to get more alumni, which is nice. So do I expect more students to come out? Yeah, and I think it's wholly dependent on how well we're doing for the season, and I think the Bethune-Cookman is going to be like Parents' Weekend, so that's going to have a lot of sales. And so we're set up for some success. But if we're winning, people show up in droves. When we're losing, you and I show up with a few thousand other friends.
Absolutely. So if you're listening to this, come out. If you're listening to this, you probably are there.
They're probably
anyway.
already going to be coming out.
But we want to see you there.
Absolutely.
We want to see your buddies there. We want to see your friends. We want to see it on Facebook. We want to...
I don't want to see your buddies if they're obnoxious.
We want to see everybody. Yeah, don't bring your obnoxious friends.
I have one of those. He's roughly like 2 feet from me.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Okay.
You are
well,
welcome.
We'll be there. So anyway, section I believe 117. Anyway, so after a short experimentation at left guard for Torian Wilson, he was moved back this week to his original slot at left tackle.
We knew there was some instability on the offensive line. We covered that last week. That's why this week we're going to talk about something good. We're going to talk about our incredibly deep wide receiver core. But back to Torian Wilson. We need some type of anchor on that line. Torian is a huge man. He's an experienced guy. He probably seems to feel more comfortable at left tackle. It's a natural position for him. And he has aspirations to play out in the NFL. And if you really want him to shine, you want him to feel comfortable. And if he's comfortable, he's going to a chance for our offensive line to be more cohesive. So this is a good thing. But we have a lot of turnover on the offensive line. I know Tariq Cook is starting out as center, and we have a few different guys coming in and playing positions, still trying to find a set offensive line. And we need them, as we discussed last week, to really get set, to work together, to have this first team going. And we know Joey Grant's going to be out because of injury for a little bit longer. So if this is beneficial for the line, then I'm all for it. If this is an inclination of instability and gives me a greater reason to worry about a possible weak link in this team, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, O'Leary said this week, Torian is better at tackle than guard watching him from the spring. He said we have more body types that can help us inside rather than at tackle. He wanted him to get some versatility at guard, so we put him there in the spring.
It didn't work out, and so be it. We're moving on.
Yep, moving on. He's back where he belongs, probably where he feels the most comfortable. So
you want him to be where he's the meanest. I love offensive linemen. Been watching a lot of video on some of our offensive line recruiting. It's just great to see those guys get mean and get into the second tier and swallow up the linebackers. And we have one kid, I forgot his name, but he's a ginger, and what South Park says, gingers have no soul, and he plays like it. It's great.
There's a few that play like they have no souls. It's awesome. So I'm going to miss Sean Magg because he always played like that.
Bruce was a ginger?
Bruce definitely, but Sean Magg is a person that I feel played with all they had every single time. I think we're going to take another question now. We have questions. Please keep sending us your questions because we actually have multiple questions this time. It's awesome.
And I see it's from Kurt, our serial question giver.
Kurt is awesome with his questions. He's given us a question, I think, almost every time. So he says, defensively, is the front four or the back seven stronger and why? What players stand out?
All right, a little asterisk by Kurt. He is a FSU alum, so he might not know as much about UCF, but
he keeps up. He lives in Oviedo, and he keeps up. He went to 3 or 4 games with me last year, probably.
Really? Wow,
Yes.
That's more than I went. Anyways, he should know why. Is the front 7 or back 7 stronger? Or front 4 or back 7? I believe, with quite certainty, it's definitely the back 7. You have a really experienced secondary, and our linebackers are all coming back. And you have Terrence Plummer and Jacoby Glenn and Gathers and all these guys that we know as UCF fans. We didn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback last year from our defensive line. We have some young guys coming in who might have a chance to start. Lowry's coming back. Hopefully he's able to have a rebound season off of his freshman year that was, iffy, due to different reasons. So it's, to me, the back 7.
I would agree. I'm looking for a big year out of Jacoby Glenn. He did an awesome job last year, way more than I ever expected from a freshman, period. He looked and played much older than he actually was and did an awesome job, and I expect the same from him this year. I expect a big year from Clayton Gathers as well, and Terrence Plummer.
And
we've talked about him before.
Also, Troy Gray, and, we have Errol Clark coming in. And college football writers across the nation have already acknowledged that our back 7 is stronger than our front 4, while giving Terrence Plummer and Jacoby Glenn on watch list.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. You can have the flashiest offense that you absolutely want. You can throw
Baylor?
long passes. Absolutely. That was a perfect example. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships.
And that's what
I cannot
we're built
say
on.
it enough. We are absolutely built on that. And I think that we have a great chance this year, and so defense is definitely a strong point.
As spring ball progresses, and I believe as we get closer to the season, I'm getting more optimistic about us and about our upcoming schedule and how we're going to do it in some of these big games. So, and the defense really is the backbone of that success.
All right, let's talk about the wide receivers now.
About time we talk about my favorite subject of this team.
All right, so yeah, we have quite a few returners this year. We have Hall, we have Wharton, we have Perryman, and Reese. And also, we have some newer guys.
We have Jackie Williams coming in on a transfer from UAB. He was their leading receiver.
Of all time, I believe, there, right?
I don't know about that. I don't follow UAB that much. Hey, Roddy White went there. But,
Who?
Roddy White from the Falcons.
Okay.
But, he sat out last year due to transfer rules, and he was able to get ingrained in this offense. We also added Jordan Atkins, coming back from minor league baseball. Kid's huge, and he's a grown man.
6'3", 237.
He's a grown man. Plus, apparently he's already impressed George O'Leary in spring practice.
Here's a quote from George O'Leary on that. He said he likes the kid. He's really impressed with him, and he says that he could be the surprise player of the year on this team, just watching him for what he's done in the last couple days.
That makes me feel a little better.
To me, that's impressive.
Well, you give another tool to a quarterback who George O'Leary apparently knows, but we don't, for them to use and for them to be settled into the position. And, it's never a bad thing to have so many weapons at the wide receiver position. And we have a top 10 nationwide in-depth wide receiver position.
Yeah.
Rennell Hall, our number 1. He's your all-everything wide receiver. He makes great routes. He gets good separation. When he really gets into a guy, he doesn't show his hips early and then makes that cut real good, quick maneuvers where a cornerback can't settle in on him. And I'm doing the moves right now for Andrew, and it's kind of awkward.
It is.
And he's able to get nice separation, use strong hands catch a ball. JJ, I think JJ would have been an outstanding outfielder in baseball. The kid, obviously the catch, highlight, plays left and right.
What I love about him is he plays totally ruthless the entire game.
Willing to go over the middle.
And get knocked out on what I can't remember what game it was, but he got knocked out on the first play of one of the games.
I'm sure he does not want to relive that moment.
He doesn't, but it shows you that he's willing to do what it takes.
He's a football player, and that knockout hasn't hurt him too much. He graduated this weekend.
He did.
With a couple other nights.
He did.
Him and Joey Grant, Joshua Reese. I think we have
Clayton Gathers, Jackie Williams, JJ, Josh Reese. and Joey Grant, like you said.
Well done, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
That's what George O'Leary promised you. He promised you an education and hard work. Hard work. Now you're starters. You produce on the football field, and now you produce in the classroom.
And
that's
they
what it's all
say
about.
that you can't do it, but you actually can.
You can finish.
You can.
Back to the wide receivers. Brashard Perriman, big young man, good target in the red zone. He had a soft cast on, and I'll probably touch on that real quick. I don't foresee this being an issue coming down the road.
Yeah, O'Leary says that he is going to be back by the Penn State game. He also said, while we're at it, that Joey Grant will be back for the Penn State game.
Good news. Good news to have those leaders back. Then it takes us to Jackie Williams. Really good year with UAB 2 years ago. O'Leary touched on, he reminds him of Jeff Godfrey. I think he's a little more polished than Godfrey. Playing that slot receiver position, can get in between defensive backs and zone reads. Really quick twitch muscles, meaning he hits his top end speed, good sprint speed real quick. So you hit him in stride, he's going to get a lot of yards after the catch. Really, really good addition to. We have a well-rounded receiving core, and then Jordan Akins coming in at 6'3". He's almost like a tight end with good athleticism. So
actually, O'Leary did say that he could play tight end. He might play him at tight end. He might play him in the H-back, the Z-back, or the X. So there's quite a few spots there, and I think that
versatility,
and O'Leary wants to give him the ball.
That's the thing we have a lot of seniors leaving this year, but this year hasn't ended yet, and we have a lot of talented kids coming in that were recruits, and so they're going to have a chance to learn under this incredibly experienced and deepest receiving core we've ever had. Incredibly talented young men. And we have it all. We have everything for every type of matchup, and that's a lot of things you look at for your offense. You're looking at where your receivers are, if they're matched up against linebackers. You put a linebacker on Jackie Williams, if it's a running play, he might not be able to handle it. But if he's running the seam up the middle, and you have Perryman and Hall on the outside of Jordan Akins, running the opposite seam, you're going to find a lot of room for someone like Jackie Williams to make a difference. Same with Joshua Reese. And then with our big guys with Akins and Perryman, and we're even forgetting our tight end, Tukes.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of opportunity when you get these guys up against safeties or the smaller cornerbacks. We're able to use this to our advantage. If we get a quarterback who could get them the ball in a good spot, then it's a win-win situation, and that's the uncertainty that we're looking for. But for any kid or any quarterback to walk into this type of receiving core, and Charlie Tapp to be able to have this at his disposal, is a big bright spot for this offense, and really gives us an opportunity to build on the 12-1 success of last year. That we've had a kind of an up and down. We had a winning season, we'd fall back.
There's a couple other big guys as well on the roster. I think that's what they're trying to recruit, the larger wide receivers. Tristan Reeves, he's a freshman this year. 6'3", 205 pounds.
Well, that's one thing when you recruit. You recruit speed and size. That's actually part of the recruitment process and how you rate recruits. Because, you want a 6'6", 300-pound offensive lineman. You want that as a tackle as opposed to a 6 foot, 270-pound guy who's just a bigger guy to move around. Same with wide receivers. You want a jump ball. You have a 5'10" cornerback and you have a 6'3" receiver. Who do you think has a better chance? Not everyone has amazing ups, per se.
We got another guy, a redshirt freshman, Michael Kubele. I'm sorry if I get that wrong. I probably did. I apologize. But
probably.
He's 6'1", 222 pounds as well. He's a redshirt freshman, so we might actually see him.
Well, but we also need slot receivers, and Josh Holloman's going to fit that, and Chris Johnson, and how we recruit. And we already have that now. We have the entire assortment. We have every tool at a quarterback's disposal to find success on an offense. Back
to Jackie Williams just for a second. George O'Leary says, in a quote here, very similar player to Jeff Godfrey. He's with a group of players who have played a lot. He's in the top 8. I look at 8 receivers out there. I think he should have a shot to help us this year. He's one of them. Again, from a size, speed, and all that, he reminds me of Godfrey a little bit as far as one-for-one replacing. So that's how I see it, is what he says.
I believe he's more than just in the top 8. He wouldn't have been lured over from UAB if there wasn't a spot for him to be able to.
He's in the top 5, I would believe.
Exactly. If he wasn't going to have the promise to contribute through hard work, and he had that opportunity last year working with these guys, and Justin Holman. So this wide receiver core is going to be instrumental to helping our run game. And not just that, these big guys, our wide receivers block. That's how you break these big plays. You get wide receivers sealing off the secondary. And when, last year when a Storm getting to the secondary, he was able to shake and bake a guy, but he only had to shake and bake one guy because the wide receiver sealed off. It's going to be the same thing with Stanback. He doesn't have to run over any cornerback, even though that's incredibly fun to watch. And who's it? Dontavius Wilson, who's coming in. These guys are going to have an opportunity to, 2-3 yards extra per carry. They're able to not have to deal with so many guys trying to strip the football or trying to take them down. That's huge. In a game of inches, 2 or 3 yards is a huge gap.
It is. So, yeah, I think the receivers are going to be awesome. I'm really excited about that this year.
It's going to take a miracle for these receivers not to be good.
And it's going to, we still haven't found out who our quarterback
we'll hike
is.
The ball to them if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe one of them can. I think Stanback played quarterback at one point in high school. Anyway, so we have another question here, This one is from Gordon. He says, what is your position on the role of government in supporting innovation in the field of biotechnology?
Interesting question.
I'll handle this one. Recent research has shown the empirical evidence for globalization of corporate innovation is very limited. As a corollary, the market for technology is shrinking. As a world leader, it is important for America to provide systemic research grants for our scientists. I believe there will always be a need for those to have a well-articulated innovation policy with emphasis on human resource development. Thank you.
Wait. Where the hell did that come from?
I answered the question that Gordon asked.
Wait, that seems familiar.
I don't know. Maybe I've heard something like that before.
All right, I'm glad you answered that because I was thinking these new shoulder pads with chips in them, but
I think they call it the bra or something like that.
The man's ear?
The man's ear, that's it. I thought it was the bra.
I just thought there was a GPS. Wait, am I completely lost here? I think I am. Anyways, I know nothing. With the chip.
I know nothing about any chips
because some systematic globalization of llamas. I don't know. The chip, which I think
the GPS. I know nothing about a GPS. I know nothing about it.
Okay. It pertains to football. We have a lot of programs, college football programs that are having it. FSU is one of them. UCF is another. It's going to be in 17 NFL stadiums. I
didn't say that.
I said it. It's on the website.
Okay. You're right. No, it is. It should be common knowledge.
It's going to tell us, when guys are slowing down late in games, how far they've ran, what their times are, how they're getting out of routes now, this, that, and the other. That is always good. I don't think it's cheating. I think there's something to be said for being an old ball coach, which is the universal term for George O'Leary. For being an old ball coach, that you could tell when a guy is slowing down. You could tell when a cornerback's just not able to, run with one of your receivers. That you don't need a chip to notice this type of stuff. But Billy Bean instituted, Moneyball into baseball when you need all these different statistics to, the true impact a player has on a game. And this could lead to the same thing. Just, the NFL fans will have this. And what I think is great is the NFL won't make this information available to the teams, yet it's free to the fans. Like, the teams can't get their hands on it.
And this is not why FSU won the national championship.
FSU won the national championship because they're a talented football team.
Absolutely. They may have had a little help from biotechnology, which is great. We're all going to use it.
There's a lot of big there's not a ton of programs on that use this. There's a lot of big programs, and then there's Old Dominion and East Tennessee State University.
Old Dominion is now a Division I team. They're actually, I believe, in the Conference USA this year. This is the first time. Last year they were a new FBS team. Now they're...
If they win Conference USA, it might not be shocking they don't have us anymore. But maybe there's something to it if they win Conference USA.
It's a nice school. I've been there before.
Oh, good. Where's it at?
It is in Virginia. Not Norfolk. Maybe Norfolk, Virginia. Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Virginia.
Okay, so let's get this other question out of the way.
Yeah, thank you, Gordon, for that.
Gordon, I thought your question was awesome. So this next one is from Gustav.
Interesting.
It is, but like we said, Orlando is a melting pot, so there
truly is.
Probably is a Gustav.
I mean, my last name's Ondrzak. I should probably be Gustav Ondrzak as opposed to Troy.
Okay, well, from now on, we will refer to you as Gustav, if you would like.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Okay. All right, so Gustav asks, what would you like to see as far as facilities upgrades for football at UCF?
We have nice facilities, but we're in the process of upgrading them. We're a huge school. We're expanding our athletics department. I believe we're trying to get $6 million for more expansion, and we have $5 million of that already pledged to us. A lot of it through the Wayne Dench, I believe $4 million or whatever. I am a nerd and I do read a lot, but I don't know all the stuff, so please forgive me if I'm not exact. Only like $1 million of it's already paid, but we're quite a bit there. We're already to expand.
Supposedly they want to put this tiki bar in for on the east side of the stadium,
and that's a different project. But that's a project they're working on. Yeah, that is facilities. And that's for the fans, not for the players.
Right. For the players, they're going to build an academic center on the east side of the stadium as well.
Yes, they're adding, which is always needed for the kids and for tutoring and all the different, computer lab and all that useful stuff.
We have our indoor practice facility, which now we were the first one in Florida to have it.
We're still the first one, but we're not the only one anymore.
We're not the only one. FSU has one, I guess.
I mean, I'm originally from Orlando. It's always been hot here. It seems like it would have been a no-brainer for all these decades. You developed a Gatorade for your athletes. Why not have them play in a giant garage?
That's true. All right, so I think we'll go into the Missouri game now. Just a little preview. We'll, of course, hit on it more later on when
we play Missouri.
We get ready the week before we get ready to play them. We'll definitely talk about it a little bit more.
As time goes by, this Missouri game seems better and better in our favor. Meaning, when we were first talking about it about 2-3 months ago, I was a bit leery, but Missouri just keeps losing people.
They do. They've had a lot of injuries already in the off season.
To an inexperienced roster.
Right. They did finish in the number 6 position last year, but I know they've lost a few guys, and they were, I think, 2 spots ahead of us, like in this top 25 thing, which I'm happy that they're putting them in that
it looks better if we beat them.
It does look better. I kind of wish they would have been ranked in the top 25 if we beat them. Maybe after their first week. I don't know who they play.
We should probably know that type of stuff, and we will. We will be more organized come game time.
Yeah, we will.
But they're returning very few starters, like a dozen on both sides of the ball combined.
Like I said before, I think a lot of people pick them to win the SEC East. So,
still,
yeah, people still do for some reason.
Well, not if we beat them.
Well, yeah, not if.
But talking about the Murray, they're replacing their quarterback and running back, and their wide receiver core, I think, combined age is 34. They're nothing but kids, and they're getting injured left and right. It's looking rather bright for us, and I mean, it's going to be a difficult game because they recruit talent regardless. Even if a lot of young freshmen are going to have a chance to start a wide receiver and at several other positions, but they bring in a lot of talent. They have the SEC. They're one of the P5 conferences. Missouri's focused on building a really strong football program for several years. Blaine Gabbert, a few other guys, Jeremy Macklin, and then now they found recent success in the SEC, so they're bringing in young talent regardless. It's not so much rebuilding as it is reloading when you're at that level. So it's going to be a tough game, and we're playing in Mizzou, and it's a terrible state. So, and we're going to have obstacles, but especially how we come out of this Penn State game, we're going to have a little bit of time coming back from Dublin to be able to prepare for this game. If you give George O'Leary and his talented staff time, then good results happen on the football field.
Yeah. I think we'll do all right. We need to...
Well, what's all right? Win or lose?
I'm not ready to pick it yet, to be honest with you, because I want to know who our quarterback's going to be still. And
there's a lot of variables on our side. If we have to build an offensive line and quarterback.
We will definitely do picks before each game. We will give you our humble opinion, and we'll see who is right at the end of the season between Troy and I.
Yeah, good point. You want to put money on it?
Yeah, whatever.
Or beers?
Beers.
Done.
We will put some beers on it. All right. So one other thing here real quick we got a couple other things.
All right, let's get it in there.
Forgot, totally. We're right at 30 minutes here, so.
Dementia sets in, it happens.
It does. There was some NFL news this week.
All right, what's going on?
The Jaguars had on Saturday night, which is last night because this is Sunday, had their preseason scrimmage in the stadium, and Blake Bortles, of course, it was his first, kind of real action. They still wore the red jerseys, but we actually have a couple clips here. We have a clip of Bortles on how he did during the scrimmage.
I mean, I played okay. There's obviously a lot of things to improve on, but I mean, it was cool to get out there and kind of, go through getting play calls, through the headset from, Jet on the sidelines and being on the field with no coaches and all that stuff. So it was cool to go through game situations, but I mean, gotta get better and continue to improve.
All right, so that was Blake about how he played.
Saying what you would expect a coached quarterback to say in any type of preseason interview.
Right, but I'm glad that he feels good.
Being comfortable is very good out there. You know how that game started, right?
No, I don't.
Storm Johnson, kickoff, touchdown.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it.
Twitter sphere, my friend.
Oh, man, I did not know that.
And that is a perfect segue into what happened in the CFL.
Well, Quincy McDuffie, as we all know, plays for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
I did not know that, but I know he played in the CFL.
Yeah, he plays for the... whatever. He plays for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he ran back a punt this last game that they played.
He did what Quincy does best.
He does, and I miss hearing this, and I think you guys probably miss hearing it, and so I'm going to play you a little clip from that.
Irala, who's kicked, not a deep one. McDuffie across the 50. Now midfield, cutting back, and away he goes! Look at the speed! He's going to score! Ticat, touchdown! Quincy McDuffie, 66 yards!
Oh, man, that was music to my ears. Now, I don't want to knock the CFL. Their field's a lot bigger, 110 yards, bigger end zones, wider field. You don't want to give Quincy that much room to run around. He's going to do that more often.
Absolutely not. You can. I'm sure that if you go to CFL.com, you can see that, and it was pure Quincy McDuffie. The exact same thing that he used to do here. It was awesome to see.
It was like Throwback Thursday.
It was. It totally was like Throwback Thursday on Facebook.
I know I need to be focused here, so
I had one more clip to play about the Jaguars thing last night. I have a clip from the coach Gus.
Is he talking about Storm and Blake?
He's talking about Blake.
Brilliant.
Well, he's good. I thought the one that we were backed up and he came out and hit the side pocket, beautiful throw. The long one, just a little hesitation. But we can clean those things up, But overall, we'll take a look at tape and evaluate after that. He does. Good command. He's got really good poise back there. Really good poise.
All right, so yeah, it sounds like that he's excited about Blake. He says that he has good poise. That's
something we all already know.
We know that, but I'm glad that he had that in this NFL.
It's translating to the pros
thing. So yeah, one more thing to touch on here real quick. Congratulations to Bruce Miller, one of our favorite players ever, at least mine. And I know a lot of the rest of you. He got engaged this weekend.
Oh, poor man.
I know. But
wait, you're engaged?
I am. It's a good thing.
Oh, good for you guys.
So, Bruce Miller got engaged. So, I guess this is going to do it for this episode of Knightline.
Thank you for all the questions.
Please send us questions. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. It is at UCF_Knightline on Twitter.
That's easy enough.
And that is it.
Thank you for listening.
This has been episode number 4. We will see you in 2 weeks. And so it's Andrew Fegley and
Gustav Andrzak.
Gustav Andrzak. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Ladies